Greetings, G4G fans. We are taking a look today at Marvel Rivals. This is the new third-person shooter that is out from the mostly mobile company, NetEase. If you are not particularly familiar with NetEase, let me go ahead and show you. So, NetEase is, like I said, primarily known for mobile games. They've been around, believe it or not, since the very, very early 2000s. But they had a gap from about 2002 to 2015. They've done some things like Revelation Online, which a decent amount of people know. Marvel Super War. Now, this is kind of this is big that they did Marvel Super War, because Marvel Super War never made it out of basically the Pacific Rim area. It's sort of what is sometimes called the Asian sphere or the Asian circle, where this was released, and it never did manage to make it to the West, unfortunately. And then it was shut down this summer in June. I believe this was the one where they had said that if they got to 100 characters or something like that, they were going to release it globally. It never made it. It was mobile. It was a MOBA. It was kind of laggy for Americans to play it if you happen to get the APK and install it anyway. But the reason why this is big is because the skins in this game were very fantastical. They had some of the most beautiful Marvel skins you've ever seen in a game. If you were to take a lot of the popular Marvel games that were not AAA, so mostly like mobile ones, but I'll throw Midnight Suns in there. Marvel Super War probably consistently was A tier when it came to its uniforms, and then Marvel Future Fight now recently has been hitting their stride with some really good Thor ones and some really good symbiote ones. But Marvel Super War was incredible with the skins that they had. They're also known for Marvel Duel, which is a card game that is still going, but again, has never made it out of the Pacific Rim. But, you know, when it comes to Android, you can go ahead and get the APK and install it anyway. I used to play this game quite a bit and played it almost daily, but then Marvel Snap came along. I don't really go into Marvel Duel just as much, but pretty good. Naraka Blade Point, which is a MOBA, and I do believe this one has actually been on Steam. Game was released for Windows in August. Yeah. So this is a... Is this one a MOBA too? Free to play? Yeah, Action Battle Royale. Sorry. It not a MOBA, but a... well, yeah, no, a Battle Royale game. Lord of the Rings, Rise of the West, and Diablo Immortal in conjunction with Blizzard. This is a big key here, and that is because of the fact that for a while, NetEase was doing the publication of Blizzard games in the Pacific Rim area. However, like all relationships, they had a little bit of a falling out for a while, and they stopped. And then recently, they made up again. So NetEase is now doing Blizzard products again. This is kind of big because most people feel that NetEase, when Blizzard broke the relationship, sort of took it personally to a certain degree and kind of started to do a bunch of their own things that highly, highly resembled Blizzard products. Now, they are not the ones who do Tarisland, and Tarisland is a gigantic rip of World of Warcraft, but inevitably, you are going to see the Marvel Rivals versus Overwatch comparisons. It's kind of a foregone conclusion. There's not much you can do about it, but there are some major differences. Overwatch is a first-person shooter. This is a behind-the-shoulder third-person shooter. But even with that difference, you're going to see some pretty heavy similarities. And because Marvel Rivals is kind of late to the hero shooter genre, you can make comparisons to characters beyond just Overwatch. There's even some that kind of remind me of paladins. And I will actually jump into that character right now because this is my strategist that I play, Rocket Raccoon. So Rocket Raccoon is a bit of a hybrid between, say, Baptiste in Overwatch and Pip, the jumpy fox thing that is over in Paladins. Now, I haven't played Paladins for many, many years. Main reason being is when I got this new computer and I just actually tried to move Paladins on over, it wasn't working properly, so I just never kind of reinstalled it. But yeah, I used to like Pip quite a bit. He threw potions, sort of like the uncle guy in Gigantic, the alchemist whose name I'm forgetting at the moment, but Sven, I think it is, where, you know, sometimes he throws a potion that's bad, sometimes, well, offensive. He throws a potion that's defensive, heals the team. Rocket Raccoon is a pretty entry-level strategist. He has a Gatling gun that does reasonable damage. It's kind of light pepper. It's not super strong. But then he can also, similar to Baptiste, throw healing orbs that bounce and they go out. Now, while the alt fire is very Baptiste-like, it's also similar to Moira's orbs in that they don't hit a target and stop, or like Baptiste where they hit the ground or they hit an area and they kind of explode and do healing. They will continue to travel. So one of the best things you can do with Rocket is kind of hang in the back line, get a line of people together, and throw Healy balls through them. He has a damage boost, little drone, similar to one of Orissa's old ults in Overwatch, back to her original one. He's got a jetpack dash, which is pretty handy. Gets him out of trouble. Much easier to use than, say, Baptiste charge and jump that he does. The Be Right Back goes ahead and resurrects people and produces armor packs. I need to get a little bit better with this one because I kept thinking it just did the armor packs and I didn't know it actually rezzed people, and then I would see my stats at the end of a match and I would see that I resurrected people and I was like, what the hell are you talking about? What do I do that resurrects people? Yeah, did not know that this did that. I usually use it sort of right behind the lines so that it dispenses armor packs and people can kind of retreat and get it. Yeah, no, it actually resurrects. He has a spider crawl. He has a slow drift. Now, what's interesting about Rivals compared to something like Overwatch is that when you have certain friends on the field, you get these team-up bonuses. So here, Jeff the Land Shark and Rocket Raccoon can ride Groot, and you receive a damage reduction because you're not actually sort of the one getting hit. Groot is. So, by proxy, you are kind of living a little bit longer. However, I think it may be true that if Groot dies, you die with him. I've only mounted a Groot once, and I think that's what happened. If you have some of the more ammo and gun-using heroes like Winter Soldier and Punisher, you will get a different ability that gives them a faster firing rate and infinite ammo. And as you can see, his difficulty is 1. Rocket Raccoon is definitely a good early game strategist. Strategist is the class that helps people. Vanguard are your tanks, and then Duelists are your DPS. Black Widow, believe it or not, is pretty similar to Widowmaker, which, of course, is incidental. Black Widow has been shown to be like this in other games in Marvel's Avengers, the ones by Crystal Dynamics, and Square. She is presented this way, where she has either pistols or a long-range rifle. and she has a third set of guns, but I'm not remembering it. They might actually be like small machine guns. But I haven't played Black Widow yet, and I don't play against that many. To me, the one-shot character that I run into the most is Hawkeye. If a Hawkeye is allowed to get set up in the back line and get a good sniping position, yeah, this is the guy you need to watch out for. He is, without a shadow of a doubt, a Hanzo. So he has piercing arrow, where you can hold your button down, pull back the draw, and then release it when you want to. Or he has a alt fire that does 3 arrows in a spread that explodes, sort of like in Overwatch where Genji can throw his single shot shurikens, or he does the 3-shot spread. Hunter's Sight is his ultimate, where he sees after images of characters, and all he has to do is shoot the after images, and they go and damage the main character. His movement ability is a sort of a Ronin-esque move for him, and it leans into his Ronin representation, where he does a forward slash. It's actually good as a movement ability to sort of get out of trouble and give him a little bit of a speed boost. He has Hypersonic Arrow, where it knocks down flying heroes and it slows them. He has another Ronin Slash, which is basically his melee attack. He is able to double jump, and he does increase damage the longer he holds things down. He has a team up with Black Widow.
Come out wherever you are.
So you're going to see things like that. I have done Hawkeye 1 match. Rocket Raccoon is who I play pretty much the most, but I've started to branch out and do some others. So I did Luna Snow for a little bit, who comes from Marvel Future Fight. She was a new character for that game. Created for it, was unique, and now she's beginning to spill out into other Marvel properties. This is kind of some of her skins over here. This one sort of looks like Viper, to be honest. That green looks very Viper-esque. That's standard Luna Snow. That's our Shining Star one. You have MVPs, which are your intros. Yeah, if you're not familiar with Luna Snow, she's basically a singer. Not a diva in attitude, just a diva in like what she does. She is able to... she's a little bit like Kiriko to a certain degree in Overwatch, where she can primary fire a friendly and heal them, but then primary fire enemies and damage them. It's sort of like a Kiriko in representation, but it's like Ana, where Ana shoots people if Ana shoots a friendly and heals them, but if Ana shoots an enemy, it damages them. Her ultimate is similar to Lucio's ultimate. She just kind of skates around, but she can toggle whether or not it heals people or gives them a damage boost. It's kind of like how Lucio is represented in Heroes of the Storm by Blizzard. Ice Arts changes her primary fire to be a big spread, so it damages in more of a spread, but it also heals in a spread. She can do Share the Stage, where she attaches something that heals them as they do damage. So you're going to see some similarities to other characters in shooters for sure. I haven't played Psylocke yet, but I did watch a Twitch streamer play Psylocke, and as you can see, she's a level 5 difficulty. It's because she pretty much plays like Genji. She has a psionic crossbow, which is like Genji throwing his shurikens, but for the most part, kind of what she does is a like Sombra Genji hybrid. This ultimate hurts. You definitely want to get out of the area when she does this because more than likely it will absolutely kill you. Psyblade dash, very similar to Genji's dash. She has a stealth.
Out of sight.
Which is why I say she's, she kind of reminds me of Sombra Genji hybrid a little bit. She can shield herself. So when you see the blue, if you're attacking somebody and you see blue, that is when they've gone ahead and shielded themselves. Bruce Banner does that a lot. Bruce is interesting in the fact that he's a little bit like Diva from Overwatch, where when you get him down to a certain level of health, he goes completely immune, and then Banner pops out. And then when he's in Banner mode, he has a gun and is able to eventually get back his rage and transform back to the Hulk. I must say, I don't think I've ever seen a Banner live long enough to do that. Anytime Banner pops out of the Hulk, that's it. He is without a shadow of a doubt dead after that. Sometimes Diva has the mobility to get out of there, but every time I've ever knocked a Banner out of Hulk mode, regular human puny Banner just dies pretty much instantly after that. Captain America seems pretty popular, don't really know much about him. There are some quests for him, and I'll tell you more about that in a little moment. Cloak and daggers are kind of common. Doctor Strange is presented as a tank. He, I do believe, is a little bit Sigma-esque in his abilities. I think he projects a shield in front of him. Eye of Agamotto is similar to Hawkeye's ultimate, where he is able to do damage to the souls of a person's body, and then it's transferred back to the human, sort of like the after images from Hawkeye. He can fly. You have to do this Maelstrom of Madness. So what happens if you see his cloak there, it gains purple with that rune? He has to release that, because if he doesn't release it, he gets this passive called Price of Magic, where he becomes cursed and can't be healed. So every time you do his primary fire, you build up this curse, and you have to release it with the Maelstrom, otherwise you become unhealable. And there's the Shield of the Seraphim. So that's his right click, and that's the barrier he puts out, which you could say is a little bit like Rhine, could say it's a little bit like Sigma, although I think it's more like Rhine. There is somebody who actually projects a shield. I'm not too sure who that is. Groot is super popular. I always see a ton of Groots. I know he makes a wall. It actually has two different walls here. They, similar to a Mei wall in Overwatch. It can be shot and brought down. I don't know too much about him. I just know that he's pretty popular. Hela is also very popular. I feel like the most threatening enemies that I typically run against are Hawkeyes, who can set up and start one-shotting from the back line. Good Spider-Men can be really, really, really tough to deal with. Hela's ult can be pretty rough. Psylocke's ult can be pretty rough. Moon Knights are also really good. Every now and then, I just run into a Moon Knight that is in the back line somewhere, and I see them do 3 moves, but from my end, I'm just instantly one-shot. I feel like I'm taken out by a Hawkeye, but it's a Moon Knight who's gotten 3 or 4 moves off, but I feel like I've only taken like 1 hit of damage. I'm like, oh, well, Hawkeye killed me, and then I see the replay, and it's like, it's a Moon Knight? I don't know much about Iron Fist. He does have some abilities that go with Luna, and he often tries to get in the back line and kind of take out the snipers or anybody who's hanging back, like healers and back row snipers. I don't know too much about him. I didn't even know this actually was Iron Fist at first, because I've never seen him represented quite like that with his uniform. Iron Men are pretty tough to deal with at times. Last night, I had a super laggy Iron Man that was able to do a ton of damage because the person was incredibly laggy and they were skipping around all over the place. And I think that is one of the drawbacks to the game, is you're going to have to deal with people who are laggy. And this is crossplay. It's not cross progression, but it is crossplay where you can play on an Xbox, you can play on PlayStation, PC, and at the end of the game, you'll see little representative icons of what they're playing from. Jeff is super common. There was always a lot of talk about him in the beta, and he is a pretty common healer. He's able to do the Joyful Splash where he heals, Aqua Burst, which is damaging, and actually that's really good seeing that. It seems pretty highly damaging. It's Jeff is his ultimate, where he swallows people and then can spit them out. He can go into the map and he heals while he's there. However, I've noticed that I think you can damage the fin. When he does that, if you aim at the fin, you can damage him. I want to see this move go off over here. Okay, I've seen those bubbles before. I think maybe if they're from an enemy, Jeff, they appear red. Maybe, and it's just there so that you can see where they are. I've always wondered what the hell that bubble was when I've walked by it. Now I know. You have Loki. Lokis are fairly common. Luna is a semi-common healer. Magic, sometimes when I'm on Rocket and want to set up in the back line from on high and throw my balls down on people, Magic is usually who comes hunting me. I don't know that much about Magneto yet. I haven't seen too many of them. Maybe he's the one who projects the wall. Change the magnetic field to form a curtain blocking. Okay. This, I think it's him who is able to put the shield out in front of him a little bit. And I think it is this metallic curtain. Yeah, okay. I think it was the metallic curtain. And Doctor Strange is like projected right on him. Scarlet Witch's ultimate is really rough. This will definitely get team kills and clear out people. You have Namor. Mantis is a healer. You have Moon Knight. Moon Knights are pretty common. Penny Parkers are pretty common. Star-Lords are common, and his ultimate really hurts. Storm is played a lot. Psylocke is played a lot. Spider-Man's played a lot. Squirrel Girl is not, and I started playing her last night as a DPS because I have a quest for her. I'm really surprised to see Doreen portrayed as being this thick. This is like May from Overwatch thickness, and that's odd because anytime I've ever seen Squirrel Girl in a game, she's usually fairly svelte and thin. She is kind of the Junkrat so far from what I've seen. The intro that goes with this skin is kind of funny. She has one that makes her look a little bit like Arctic Snow, or Luna Snow. This is the MVP animation for when she's using the other outfit. It's crazy. This game's crazy. Here's why she's a little bit like a Junkrat. The acorns explode in an AoE. You can absolutely bounce them around corners. If you can kind of get set up in a back line, and you get nice long lines of sight down hallways and alleys, she can do a ton of damage. She can get out of the area with her tail bounce. she can use one of her abilities to reset her cooldowns. So that's her right click, where she throws out a squirrel that traps people, and then you can hit your mammal bond and reset that and have it back up again. That's the squirrel that traps people. And her, kind of what you would expect, she has a wave of squirrels, which is how she's often represented in games when she is around. She had this wave in Marvel Avengers Alliance. She's got it in Marvel Strike Force. Not surprising. And she actually has a team up with Spider-Man where she can throw webbed bombs. Interesting combo to see her teamed up with Spider-Man. Venom is fairly common. I don't see too many Winter Soldiers. I do see some Wolverines. Thor is really common. Also very, very annoying at hunting down backline characters. Punisher is kind of your standard soldier character from Overwatch, or Oscar Mike from Battleborn. Generally rated as a 1 on the difficulty. He has typical assault rifle, but then he can switch to a close-up shotgun, which I don't see too many Punishers using. And when I've played Punisher, I didn't do it too much because you got to be really, really close. His ultimate is pretty nice.
Judge, jury, executioner!
Even though he sounds like Judge Dredd over there. He just gets a ton of armament, and if you let a Punisher get a full ultimate off, he's probably going to get a lot of kills. He can set up a cable where he can basically pulley his way up it. I don't know if others can use it or not. He essentially has like a Bastion mode from Overwatch, where he drops the turret, then takes control of it. Again, really, really handy if you can set up in a back line. Does a lot of damage. He drops a smoke grenade. And then when people go out of line of sight, he can still see them a little bit. He also has a team up with Rocket and Winter Soldier. If you have a Rocket and a Punisher together and they hang near each other, it's relatively deadly. Thor's ultimate, I feel like I know very little about, because I always seem to be out of it when an enemy Thor does it.
Behold
Down.
the god of thunder!
Yeah, I don't think I've been caught in that too many times. But much like magic, Thors do tend to go hunting. So far, I like the game quite a bit. There are some issues. Thor's MVP is bugged like crazy. He gets disjointed from his body. Okay, that one's alright. Yeah, and that's his ultimate skin. This doesn't seem to be doing it here, but anytime Thor was an MVP, his waist down would get really disjointed and low poly and low res. Kind of weird, but other than that, I haven't seen too many bugs. The lag... Oh boy, yeah. The lag can be really, really bad. This is a problem you see sometimes with free-to-play games. You get people coming in from other regions, and the matchmaking slaps them together. And in a game like this, it's going to be really, really, really ping-dependent. Blacklight Retribution, for me, was one of the games where that was super bad. Overwatch, when it went free-to-play for Overwatch 2, didn't seem to do it. But almost any free-to-play game here in the Americas, where it'll stretch from Canada down to South America, even in a middle United States, pinging down to somebody in like Brazil or southern Mexico or Peru, you'll see some really, really bad lag going on there. And that's what I think that Iron Man was doing the other day, was really, really super skippy. Now, when I mentioned that there were quests and everything, you have a season pass, and as you progress through your season pass, going through the missions, you get your chrono tokens, which you use to unlock an item on a page. And the last thing you unlock on a page is usually the big skin. And then when that page is done, you go to the next one, and so on and so forth. So I have the first whole page unlocked, which gave me a Black Panther skin, it gave me a Punisher skin, and then I am due up for this skin over here when this page is complete. You can't skip right to the skin, even if you have the tokens. You have to complete the page, then you can do the skin. When you look under missions, this is where things get a little bit screwy. Because you're going to see things you're like, oh man, that's going to be tough to do. Here, 25 assists with Cloak and Dagger, Loki, Adam Warlock, or Jeff the Landshark. If you don't particularly play those characters, the missions get tough. Here, 1500 damage is Iron Man, Black Panther, Psylocke, or Adam Warlock. Iron Man is only ranked as like a 2 for his skill level, but Psylocke was a high 5. If you don't consider yourself good with any of these characters, they're going to get tough. But it does force you to branch out a little bit. Like, here's the one that I did for Squirrel Girl, and now I found out I like Squirrel Girl. I did this one on Rocket Raccoon, and I had been playing him anyway, so that one was easy. These season ones, this Entangled Moments season, this is where things get bad, and I've seen people complaining about this on Reddit. Win 3 matches on the Thor maps and everything like that. That's not that bad. You're going to do that in 25 days. If you can't get 3 wins in 25 days on those maps, that's a problem. But defeat 5 enemies as Storm or Captain America with Thor Force's Electrifying Enhancement. You have to be playing Storm and Captain America and have a Thor on your team. That's a problem. Defeat 30 enemies as Hela, Loki, Thor, Bruce Banner, Black Panther, or Luna Snow on Thor maps. That's actually why I was playing a little bit of Luna Snow, is I was trying to get good with her so that when I pulled one of those maps, I can do it. Team up with Venom as Spider-Man or Penny Parker and defeat 3 enemies with Suit Expulsion, Armor Expulsion. Again, you have to get lucky enough that somebody else is running your fellow team-up bonus over here. Defeat 30 enemies as a whole bunch of people on Tokyo 2099. I feel like something like this is a little bit freer. These 2 defeat 30s are a little bit better, but these team-up ones, the Venom one, the Thor one, those I don't think are particularly fair, and I think people are going to continue to complain about that. Entangled Moments is this kind of story thing. This will be... There's the Thor one. And actually, go back, Escape took me. And now, just today, the Spider-Man one opened up. I think these are a little harsh in their requirements, and Reddit generally seems to kind of be agreeing with it. Now, when you go to the store, you are going to find out this is where NetEase and being a mobile company comes into play. When I got the Battle Pass, okay, the Battle Pass was slightly over 1,000, which meant you needed to do the 1,000 one, and you needed to either, I think it was either the 100 or the Lattice. If you're on Steam, Steam has a minimum purchase. You can't just get the 100 coins. Steam is like, oh, you have to spend at least $5. So now Steam is coming into play when you're spending money on this game. All right, let's see here. Here's a bundle. Spider-Man, 2,600 of those coins. 100 blue is 100 yellow. Therefore, 100 yellow is 100 out of the 2,600 of the blue. So consider it a direct conversion, except for the fact that you can earn blue along the way. But say you're flat broke. You have no blue and you want this. You need to have 2,600 Lattice. Okay? Now, it's always a huge bundle. You get a skin. You get a spray. You get a MVP. And everything like that. Skip that. So, if you go to the store, 2600 is the bundle. Look what happens. The closest thing is 2180, and then you have to get the 1000. So you're dropping 20 bucks, 10 bucks, you're dropping about 30 bucks for that. And then you're having leftover. This is a common predatory pricing structure. And mobile games that used to have loot boxes and everything like that, they are known for it. It's always just slightly off of what seems to be a fairly standard currency purchase. Now, this Deadpool and Wolverine, or Deadpool 3 uniform, this one is not too bad because it is $1,800 for the bundle or $1,600 just for the skin. That can easily be grabbed by one of the $20 purchases. There have been some comparisons to Overwatch. Some people have said it's worse. I've seen some people say, wait a minute, is this going to be better? I really haven't run a direct comparison. If you want to get just a costume and not anything else in the bundle, there are ranges from 1600 to 1800. I don't know how many of these I've actually seen around, to be honest. I think maybe some of the Guardians of the Galaxy I've seen, and I probably would like to pick up a Rocket one, but I kind of feel like Rocket skin is almost already 3/4 of the way there to this one, so I'm not in a hurry. I don't want to spend a huge amount of money on this one yet, and then you get these other collectibles at times. When you go over to your profile, you go to achievements, you get achievements over here that you can pick up. Favorites are your highlights, so I'll just show you these highlights real quick and then we'll end the video. You can upload these to TikTok. When you do a highlight, it's like, okay, do you want to share it? And it makes you log into TikTok, but everything I've uploaded, I actually made a TikTok account for this, tried to upload stuff, and it never appears on the account. And I'm seeing similar things on Reddit, but when I tell you, don't let Hawkeye get set up, this is why. There's going to be a lot of misses, but the hits are really solid, and they're basically like instant kills, unless it's a tank or a Vanguard. And I truly feel, for the most part, whenever I've been one-shot by somebody, 90% of the time it's been a Hawkeye, and only 10% has it been a Black Widow.
Please, give me a challenge.
Kind of whiffing on that one, then they got two below me. Caught back up. I thought that was a Loki clone. And it was. But then the Loki comes through that hallway,
How's
takes
that
a shot.
for a trick?
So yeah, just in that little sequence, triple kill there. And a magic would eventually come back up to that little balcony that I was at and force me out of it. And that's why I was saying I feel like it's Thor's and Magic's who go hunting the back row people the most. Occasionally, I will have Wolverines and Black Panthers try to chase really deep, but then if you bring them back to your teammates, they're in a lot of trouble. I have gerbated a few Wolverines and Black Panthers towards my team and gotten them killed. Spider-Mans are the real pain, because Spider-Mans are so mobile that it's hard to target them when you're trying to back up.
See, I'm fucking helpful. Someone scratch my back.
I owed that Hawkeye. So that's what it looks like to use Rocket Raccoon. Those yellow orbs were the healing ones. Hawkeye can get set up and absolutely take out and pick apart the team. Here's my stats so far. About a little over an hour on Rocket. Started playing a lot of Squirrel Girl down the stretch last night. Luna Snow a little bit, Hawkeye, and Punisher. Haven't tried a Vanguard yet, but I've tried a few healers, which is good because there is no roll lock. So, I mean, you could have 3 DPS and 3 healers. People are already starting to ask for some kind of a roll lock or roll limits. And they do seem to be having some kind of a tournament going on, but I know very, very little about it. So there you go. There is a look at Marvel Rivals. I'll probably get some gameplay videos up soon, especially on characters that I actually like Rocket Raccoon, Squirrel Girl, and a few others. But there's just a brief overview of it. If you're a Marvel fan, I think enjoy the game. If you are a shooter fan, enjoy the game. If you are pretty familiar with how free-to-play games go, watch out. It's NetEase. We all know about NetEase and Netmarble and all of these companies that are so heavily invested in the mobile sphere. You're going to see some pretty predatory things. So just be prepared for that. Hopefully their netcode gets a little bit better. And we'll see if some bugs like the Thor MVP bug are fixed. But it does seem to be a pretty fun game. Don't know if I would call it an Overwatch killer quite yet, as a lot of people were doing. But I think you're going to get a lot of shared people playing. Your pool of people playing both games are going to be fairly shared among them. I'm not really too sure how many Paladins players are still out there. I haven't really kept up with that community in a long time. But fun game, free to play, played on Steam, played on PS5, play it on the Xbox. Some people with 10X series of NVIDIA cards are saying the game is really, really tough on their system, like 1060s, 1050s. You're probably going to want a 2000 series card to get some good performance out of this. 2050s, 2060s, but 1050, 1060 may struggle a little bit. So, catch you guys later. Have a good one.